My heart skips skipping the beat. You're not close enough, so that space between you and me, let's lose it. The way you're dancing, swaying to the music, girl, that body and how you move it. Every time you cross my mind, girl, I lose it.
Alexa, play the Country Heat playlist.
Okay.
I don't think you know what you're doing to me. You got my...
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get tens of millions of songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.
Blog Talk Radio.
Warning. What you are about to hear are the views of Travis Pope and the Oklahoma Tomcat and is not supported by the government. Agreeing with the hosts of this show could cause you to be targeted by the government and government agencies. You have been warned.
Good morning, Colorado.
Good morning, Utah. You're in Colorado? About time you got to Colorado. Took you so long.
Maybe about time. My steam's up here full speed. Going through all the mountains and everything, and all through the small towns and small roads.
Yeah. Well,
But
I got over here yesterday. It's been pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like Trump is going to force me into a 34-hour restart after all. I ran out my 70 hours, and I don't get anything back till Tuesday. All thanks to Trump.
Well, at least, when do you get to drive again? I mean, when did you stop, today or yesterday?
I stopped today, this morning. So I could start Monday night, but I'll have to have my daughter do some math and figure out when I should start driving and all that stuff, being, she's on the truck and I'm using that to homeschool her. I'm on vacation.
Vacation.
Yeah. All I have to do is drive. She and do the tarping and stuff. She does all my paperwork and math and everything, and trip planning.
Ain't that slavery? Child abuse,
hold on,
slavery.
Hold on. You're on the studio. You're gonna have to edit all that out, so the federal government doesn't send their agencies after me.
I'll let them do that on their own.
Well, we have a guest on, Gene Bell, who's running for Oklahoma representative in District 78.
Oh, no, another Oklahomian.
Yeah, the greatest state in the union. Even though during this show I'm not going to make him, I'm not going to make him sound so great because I'm going to bring up all the flaws to see what Gene says he will do as our representative to correct those flaws. Then we'll be the greatest state in the union once Gene gets elected.
Okay, I'll believe that when I see it. You know what Oklahoma is, don't you? Let's bring on Gene on here real quick. Well, let's bring Gene on real quick. Y'all know what Oklahoma is, right? It is the biggest county in Texas, right?
No, it ain't. That's fake news.
You know why they call it the Sooner State, right?
Why is that?
The sooner you're out of there, the better off you are.
Oh man. See, that's what I'm telling you, Gene. He's all jealous and stuff, so he has to make up, all this fake news,
Yeah, I'm just so jealous of Oklahoma. You know, I'm jealous of them taking taxes out of my check, so that way I just want to move up there to let the state and the federal government take more out of my check.
Well, you know, being we're the greatest state, you should be proud to pay taxes. You know, that's what all the statists tell us. You know, that we should be proud to pay taxes and willing to pay taxes.
Gene, you see how quick he cleaned that up? Because I was about to call him a statist for wanting me to have my taxes, my paycheck garnished.
Well, I'm all for no income tax. We could do that. We could do that in Oklahoma. If you can do it in Texas, we can do it here.
Yeah,
I know everybody wants to be
that
like
would
Texas.
be great.
Oklahoma wants to be so much like Texas, they want to stop paying income taxes.
Well, there's one thing I
don't think you have to want to be like Texas to want to get rid of income tax.
Yeah, there's one thing I want Gene to clarify though. When it comes to with Texas can get rid of income tax, so can Oklahoma. Now Texas, the tax burden on Texans is pretty high because of their sales tax. And one thing that I don't want to see is, yes, I want to see us get rid of our income tax, but I don't want our property tax and our sales tax to increase. Can we do that without doing increase to such a great degree, to where we end up actually
Absolutely.
causing more tax burden?
It's not about how much we tax. It's about how much we spend. Just cut spending
Right.
to the bone.
Oh yeah, y'all. I mean, it ain't like y'all repairing any roads up there in Oklahoma, so y'all could go ahead and cut your income tax and your sales tax. I mean, y'all not repairing any roads up there.
Oh no, that's not true. We're repairing a road just a mile from my house. It doesn't need it, but they're repairing it.
Well, that's great. They're repairing that road, but they're not repairing what's that highway? Yeah.
I can't believe you forgot that highway. That highway's been branded in our brains.
Yeah, it has. I just had a memory lapse there on that highway. But yeah, that one there, I did a video on that one, Gene. That one there, that road is real bad. In fact, I always tell people don't drink and drive on that road because you might spill your drink.
Yeah.
Your coffee, that is.
Yeah.
That road is so bad. Gene, that road is so bad that you can buy a gallon of milk in Texas, drive across it, and by the time you get on to the other side, you have butter.
I believe it.
And it's only 40 miles.
Now,
so in 40 minutes, you will have pure butter.
Yeah. Now you hit on two of the subjects that I do have lined up here. One is taxes. And what is sad is, I always tease people in New York where I was born and raised because, of course, compared to New York, Oklahoma's taxes look great, especially the property tax, because I only pay $60 a year in property tax on 20 acres of land. Which I always, brag to my family and friends in New York and say, oh, man, I think I'm going to take out a loan to pay my property tax this year, But sadly, when you compare all the states, we're number one being the least taxed. We are ranked at 25 with the average Oklahoman paying 10.75% taxes. What is your plans for getting that lowered down? I mean, there's no reason for us to be paying so much taxes.
Well, I agree. We pay too many taxes. What freaks me out is the sales tax. I take my wife to lunch at Taco Bell, and the tax on our bill is over $1. The governor thinks every time I have lunch, I should give him $1. That's a lot of money. I think we need to reduce that. We need to reduce that a lot. I don't know where the money's going. Like you all point out, it's not going to fix the roads. So I think if they're not going to fix the roads, we could do it for less taxes. So my plan to fix the tax situation is first to get elected to office and then get 51 more representatives elected to office, and then we can pass a bill to reduce taxes.
Yeah, because, I mean, as a representative, that's going to be one of your, the things that, and I don't know how many people understand the different branches in Oklahoma, but that is going to be one of your things is budgeting and taxes.
That's correct.
Well, here's one of my problems.
But I'll just be one voice amongst 100.
Yeah. Well, here's one of my problems is with the state sales tax is, I mean, not the sales tax, but the state income tax is that I work for a company that is located out of Oklahoma, and I'm a Texas resident, and Oklahoma is still taxing my paycheck, and I have no representation in Oklahoma. I can't vote in Oklahoma. I can't have, there's nothing for me in Oklahoma. I can't do it. I mean, taxation without representation. If I'm being taxed, I should be able to vote into your local politics, should I not?
Oh, you're absolutely right. But your solution is to work for a company in Texas.
Yeah, if they pay good enough. Some of them don't.
Well, that's your choice.
Yeah.
You have to see. Are they paying? Or do you make out better paying Oklahoma income tax and living in Texas?
I still make more money working up there for this company. And see, and not just me. Yeah, luckily, Texas don't take out state taxes, but we also have a guy that works for the very same company that's located out of Washington State. Well, not only is he getting taxed for Washington State, but he's also getting taxed for Oklahoma State, and he's getting taxed for federal. So he's got 3 sets of taxes coming out of his paycheck.
Now, I'm pretty sure he gets one of those state taxes back at the end of the year when he fills out his forms. I don't know which one, but I don't believe that he's paying 2 state taxes. I do believe they're taking out of his paycheck 2 state taxes.
Yeah.
But here's my thing is because I've worked also in, now I work for a company in Oklahoma, which I like, which I plan on staying with. But I have worked in other states, and they did not tax me, because if they did, I would have quit that company, But, even if you get that money back, that's a lot of headache, if you do the tax yourself, and also extra expenses if you pay somebody to do your taxes for you, to have to mess with.
Well, that's the most offensive thing about income tax. We're all willing to chip in some cash out of our pocket to help the community. But why do we have to go through the hassle of hiring an accountant, filling out jobs of personal forms, waiting, having our money taken out ahead of time before we ever touch it? Those are the things that's wrong. Those are the big things that are wrong with income tax.
Yeah, that's true. We need to get rid of the income tax because.
Hey, listen, you could fix the complications of filling out taxes with a stroke of a pen and relieve everybody of the burden and still have the same revenue. Let's do that first.
Yeah, I agree with that. Income tax to me is income tax and property tax are 2 taxes that I think is really unfair because, number one, you shouldn't be taxing people, for making money. If the government...
That's right.
Really, doesn't the government want people to have better jobs and, to try to go for the higher, pay and stuff like that? Because that's better for also the
economy
and also
for the government. The government would rather punish us for working harder.
Yeah,
the real government would give us a break if we work harder. Why do my taxes go up every income level I go up? They should go down.
Right.
The multimillionaires don't pay any taxes anyway. It goes down for them.
Yeah, I mean, really, the people that are hurt the most by income tax, from what I see, is the middle class, because you got your lower income people, which actually gets money, even though they don't pay any money in, and then you got your rich people, people who make lots of money, who know who can afford, to pay extra to find these ways of getting around the tax system, So really, your middle class is the most punished.
Absolutely true. Right, and listen, I would get rid of income tax and federal income tax as a matter of course and obvious. Everybody hates and fears the IRS. Let's abolish them.
Yep, I'm 100% behind you on that.
I would almost be willing to accept just a regular straight flat sales tax. It had to be a constitutional amendment, so they can't raise it up on you just on any whim. Straight federal sales tax. No more income tax. No more filing. No more this or that or anything like that. You ain't got to worry about the federal government come knocking on my door and beating down my door, putting a gun to my head, and putting me in jail because I didn't pay taxes. That would be, the way they have it now is it's a fear tactic. You're either according to Nancy Pelosi, it's all voluntary anyways.
I hear that from a lot of people.
I've been looking all over everything I can find, and I've never found anywhere where income tax is voluntary.
It's compulsory voluntary. You have to volunteer. Yes, technically she's right. Technically it is a voluntary thing. When you sign the pledge, you're volunteering to pay those taxes. If they put you in jail, it's not for not paying your taxes. It's for not filling out the forms correctly.
that sounds. You know what? That sounds like the government. We're not putting you in jail for this. We're putting you in jail for this. A way of making it sound like you're not being punished for what we're making you do, or you're being punished for mistakes you've made or things like that.
No, it's always an indirect punishment. They'll never a direct punishment.
Yeah.
Maybe
an indirect punishment on everybody that's not guilty.
Maybe on my next tax season, when I fill out my paperwork, I'm just going to get me a big black marker, and I'm going to mark on it. It says Nancy Pelosi says these are voluntary, so leave me alone.
Well, the problem with that strategy is they've already taken the money out of your check long before you ever fill out the form. So you can't do that. That's why they take the money out before they give you your check. And people don't even realize. People don't look at their paycheck close enough to realize how much is getting stolen from them before they get their check.
That's one huge problem with the income tax, and why I think the sales tax would be a lot better. Because, granted, there are people who don't look at their receipts to see how much tax they're paying on that. But, you do have more of an openness when you have on your receipt how much taxes you're paying, and when people see that price going up. Because a lot of people don't even pay attention to their income taxes. I mean, they never see the money. They don't, and when they get that tax return, they don't realize they actually got ripped off, because if you're getting the money back that you paid in, that's actually the government really did steal from you, because they held that money without paying you no interest.
That's right. I don't get a tax return. I just get my loan return. They just repay the loan.
Yeah, interest free. I mean, gee, don't you wish you could have a company where you could do that?
Yeah, we need to get a loan. We need to get. I wonder if anybody ever tried to do that. Hey, I'm going to sue the federal government for the interest that they accrued on taxes for the last few years that they never returned.
I think there's a law that forbids you from suing the federal government.
Yeah, there
probably.
is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think there are cases where you can. I'm no lawyer, but and I'm sure a lawyer is scoffing at my ignorance. But if it was that easy, we'd all be doing it.
Yeah. I think it's probably like what I've heard New York does, where you have to ask permission. You know, there's only certain things you can sue them on, you know, and it has to be reviewed and then thrown out or accepted.
Right. Well, the court systems are nothing for poor people to challenge.
Right.
You got to have Trump's money to deal with the court systems.
Yeah. Now, Oklahoma,
so here on the tax
I'm not
issue, sometimes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes we hear new proposals of new taxes. We're going to replace the tax with a flat tax. We're going to replace the tax system with a fair tax. We're going to replace the system with a value-added tax. And all of them have some merit, but none of them guarantee that they won't just make taxes higher that way. I want to hear somebody
that's
say,
what I worry about.
We're going to replace it with a fair tax, and we're going to reduce the tax burden by 50% while we're at it.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to make that clear, you know, because like I'm looking at the list right now of tax burdens by state, and I'm going to pick on Texas a little bit here. Texas is rated 28, which Texas has a higher taxes than Oklahoma. And see, that's one of the things I worry about. See, because like, you know, something I've explained to Travis when I look at taxes, and one of the reasons I did move to Oklahoma, and one of many reasons from New York, is because the way I look at it is, if anything happened to me right now, you know, to where I could not work anymore, and my wife, she's unable to, you know, she wouldn't be able to get a job to be able to support the whole family. Would we be okay? You know, or would we be another victim of the government's, quote-unquote safety net system? And one of the things that I love about Oklahoma taxes is the property tax, unless you live in a city or something like that where you got the additional city taxes and stuff. But out where I live, out in the county, property tax is low. You know, I'll never have to worry about, you know, paying the 60, well, I think it's now 80, but I wouldn't have to worry about paying that property tax every year, you know. And that's one of the things I want to make sure is, you know, if we do change our system, you know, our tax system, that we're not going to just say, because I know how the government loves to do this. They'll say, oh, yeah, no income tax. Yeah, we're going to get rid of that. Let's hike the taxes up on all these other things. You know, and I don't
well,
want
that's
that to be
absolutely their scam. They do that every time. They
do
that every time. They've got the people convinced that we have to have taxes. Not only that, they have us convinced that taxes go up every year. Why is that taxing? That's not the universe I'm familiar with. Why would taxes, or no reason why taxes should go up every year any more than they should go down every year. Let's change the paradigm. Let's change the taxes to go down every year. The truth is, I don't care if it's income tax or sales tax or property tax. I want it to go down.
Yes.
Now, people say, well, how are you going to pay for stuff? Well, I'm not going to pay for stuff. Let's stop paying for stuff. We don't need that stuff.
Yeah. You know, he likes to rag on Texas about being 28th on the scale, but you know, I sit here and wonder how is Texas 28th on the tax scale when it's a straight 8% sales tax, and we haven't had it raised or lowered in, I think, 30 years or more. And we have a surplus down there. Well, then you guys need to, if you guys got a surplus, you guys really need to lower your taxes too, because like your property tax is higher than Oklahoma, and I'm looking at it right now. Property taxes is pretty much based on your local stuff too.
Right. Listen, it's all a complicated tax equation. It's a math equation, a math problem. They intentionally don't teach you math in school, so you don't understand it. So you just have to move forward with your life and just pay them taxes. You don't have any knowledge of what's going on. You don't know how to fix it because you don't know what's going on. None of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if they, and they just slowly raise the taxes, because as far as what I've seen in my life is all taxes slowly go up. The income tax slowly goes up, sales tax slowly goes up, and property tax.
And that's something I don't
go
understand. That's something I don't understand. There's a couple of issues on that very subject that you're talking about with the taxes going up. Now, taxes are based on a percentage, right? So, I mean, ideally, when you look at it, there should be no reason for that percentage to ever go up or new taxes to be made. If the economy is doing good in your state and you're budgeting everything properly, if the people are doing good, the amount of money you're going to bring in is going to be higher. If the people are doing bad, well, part of that blame does go on government. So you should take a pay cut, just like all your people, your representative takes a pay cut, because if the economy is doing bad, we all take a pay cut, right? I mean, so why should government make more money when the economy is doing bad? Let's do a real simple 10%. Yeah.
It's a system built on the Ponzi scam, and it's not a system built on logic and need. The government takes more money because they can. That's all. It's not because they deserve more money. They certainly don't. But they can take more money, so they do.
Mhm.
Yeah, we got to fund all them. We got to fund all these unconstitutional wars.
There's a good place to waste some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I disagree. We do not have. We need to stop doing that. Bring all our troops home from all around the globe. Bring them all back to our United States. Let them spend their paycheck at home.
And what's bad is, Oklahoma, where we have, we're looked at as a Republican state, and even under Nancy Pelosi. Well, I do get Republicans, Democrats messed up sometimes, but even under Mary Fallon. I keep on reading article after article after article about, raising taxes. And I'm like, is this proof that Republicans, just like Democrats, love to raise taxes?
Clearly they do. I don't think that Oklahoma is a Republican state, because I've seen Oklahoma be a Democratic state, and I've seen Oklahoma be a Republican state. I think Oklahoma is a libertarian state. People just don't know they have that option.
Yeah,
because
I agree with you.
Both parties are very good at keeping the libertarians down and keeping all third parties and new parties down. We're not invited to any debates. They kept us off the ballot for 16 years just because they could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with. When you talk to the people and you talk about issues, without using because unfortunately I forgot who it was. We had one person running for representative on here, and he talked about the one of the issues that we face is getting people educated on what libertarian is. But if you just talk about issues, a lot of Oklahomans do have. Do follow along right along with what libertarians do stand for. So, I agree with you that Oklahomans overall do tend to be more libertarian. They just, we just need to get the word out there, that number one, we do have an option this year, and number two, what is a libertarian, And
we're fixing to go to break.
All right. let's talk about self-defense. Both Travis and I, as truck drivers, we do run into a problem when it comes to defending ourselves, and that is that every state has different laws regarding guns. You know, so unfortunately, Travis and I, we run into that issue as truck drivers. But we do have a way to defend ourselves, and that is with a taser. And 45 of the 48 states do allow us to carry a taser with us, for the people to open carry a taser. So both Travis and I, we both do carry tasers, and we got our tasers from truckers-defense.com. They have very reasonable prices, great people that will help you out. You can contact them. And they also have more than just tasers. Now, I am a big advocate for people carrying tasers. Even if you carry a gun, it's a good idea to have a taser because it does offer you that less lethal way of defending yourselves. You know, somebody's coming after you with a gun, with a knife, and you got distance on them. You don't need to shoot them and kill them. You know, a taser is a non-lethal way to defend yourself. So I highly recommend that everyone go to truckers-defense.com. Check out their tasers. Also, you know, if you want to check out their other stuff, they got a lot of different things on there, from stun guns, and they also have the supplies for the taser. If you have a taser already, you can get your cartridges there. That's truckers-defense.com, and we'll be back after these messages.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Hello, libertarian friends and independent thinkers. This is Richard Castaldo for Congress. I want to thank Oklahoma Tomcat and the broadcast for letting me share a little bit about myself. I am running for Congress in Oklahoma's 2nd Congressional District, and I appreciate your consideration. First, let me tell you that I strongly believe in the non-aggression principle, and that philosophy guides everything I would do in politics and Congress, including my voting. And what it means is that I do not believe in or advocate the initiation of force as a means of achieving political or social goals. In other words, consent is everything. If there's no consent, then I'm not going to approve it. My platform includes the elimination of taxpayer funding for abortions, restore and protect the Second Amendment, protect farms and small businesses by eliminating needless regulations and property taxes, abolish federal income tax and propose the fair tax, abolish the IRS and Federal Reserve, protect cryptocurrencies from federal persecution, and restore constitutional ballot access through major reform and abolishment of the Federal Elections Commission, cut government spending and pass balanced budgets, end the war on drugs and the prosecution of victimless crimes, deschedule cannabis completely, maintain and strengthen a strong military, and prioritize our veterans, end global interventionism and unconstitutional wars, eliminate federal restrictions on individual charity, privatize marriage and adult consensual relationships, abolish the Department of Education and privatize Head Start through kindergarten, defend Native American lands from federal interference, protect and reinforce all parental rights, remove government sponsorship of LGBTQ discrimination and all racism, especially involving law enforcement and federal courts, restore religious and atheist liberty on public property and for businesses, deregulate religious organizations and churches. I think it's so important that we send someone to Congress this year who believes in individual liberty and the Constitution. Just to tell you a little bit more about myself, I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma in December of 1981 and grew up in Grove in the Grand Lake region. I graduated from Grove Public High School in 2000 and Oklahoma Wesleyan University in 2010. I have traveled to several countries and across the U.S. in ministry, both as a worship leader and a missionary. I've worked in retail and customer service for years, including as a store manager for a local Radio Shack. I'm now a husband and dad, a street pastor with Grand Lake Life, and a political activist dedicated to serving people wherever I see the opportunity. I'm running to represent our Congressional District 2 of Oklahoma in the U.S. House of Representatives because I want to remind Washington, D.C. that your life matters. I am not a politician. I would have no strings attached. I would be a fiercely independent voice for you, the people. I have the principles and courage to stand up against the establishment of both the Democrats and Republicans. I'll work tirelessly to restore your individual freedoms to live, to love, and to worship, or not to worship, the way you choose. As a father of 2 toddlers and native Oklahoman, I am concerned about our future as a society. We are all being crushed by the aggression of government, and it continues to damage our educational opportunities, our criminal justice system, our economy, our health care, the daily living of everyday people. As a proud member of the Libertarian Party of Oklahoma, I believe in a constitutional government that values individual liberty. The other political parties are consistently arguing about which laws they want to burden you with, but that's not the Libertarians. We want limited government and self-responsibility. We want to get rid of over-regulation and too many laws, because that is how freedom thrives. I believe in a federal government that is restrained by the Constitution. I believe in restoring and protecting your full Bill of Rights, from the Second Amendment to the First Amendment to the Fourth Amendment, your rights to privacy. I believe in the power of capitalism. The free markets provide the best opportunity for all of society to succeed. My votes will be made public, and I will be transparent about every decision. My Republican and Democratic opponents, Mark Wayne Mullen and Jason Nichols, will be owned by their political establishments, by the swamp and the lobbyists. But I will not be. Again, I will be fiercely independent. If you are tired of the corruption, if you're tired of the power struggle between Republicans and Democrat politicians who think their lives matter more, and if you're ready for constitutional rights to be restored, please send me to Congress. I humbly ask for your support and your vote on November 6, 2018, and in your early voting. I hope that you will make sure that your voice is heard and that you will share with your friends and family about Castaldo for Congress. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Again, this is Richard Castaldo, and I approve this message. God bless.
Miss Producer is also known as Miss Giggles. You are listening to Political TNT on the Liberty National Network.
All right, welcome back to Political TNT. We have Gene on, who's running for Oklahoma Representative District 78. Welcome back to the show, Gene.
Thank you.
One thing I want to talk about.
I'm still in Utah.
and I'm still in Colorado. Will be until Tuesday. One of the topics I want to talk about that's kind of related with taxes is the our spending. I read an article that where where they talked about Oklahoma spending. And one of the tricks that our great government has done is made us think that, we were actually cutting spending. One of them things where, oh yeah, look at us, we're cutting spending here, but when in reality we actually increased spending. The guy who did this study looked into all this, Joel Griffith, who is director of Tax and Fiscal Policy Task Force at the Oklahoma Legislative Exchange Council. He has found that in 2017, our spending has actually increased 108%. I tried to look at the wasteful spending. I love looking at stuff like that because, it does get me all angry and stuff because spending is one of the things that I'm big into is, controlling spending. But at the same time, looking at that list sometimes gets you laughing because you see the ridiculousness. I have trouble finding Oklahoma's wasteful spending list. The federal one is easy to find, but the Oklahoma one I find harder to look at. But what are some areas that you see where we're wasting money that we really don't need to be spending tax dollars on?
Oklahoma wastes money across the board. There is no government agency that shouldn't be reduced in size by reduced in spending. Everybody's wasting money. The thing about government is an inefficient tool to fix society's problems. Throughout the course of human history, we've had societal problems, and we've developed various ways to mitigate the bad effects of our problems. One of the ways, and only one of the ways, is to form a government and have the government control it. But government is vastly inefficient. For every dollar you pay in taxes, you get about a penny worth of services out of the government. Corporations are much better. Churches are much better. You can give your money to a non-government organization or a religious organization, and you can expect them to spend it relatively efficiently. Maybe you get 80 cents out of a dollar spent on the actual problem. Maybe better. The government, not so much. We do have problems in society, and we do want to cure them by spending money on them, but we don't want to waste money along the way. Government is the best way to waste your money.
Well, what would you say about, I've heard, I forget his name already. He was one of our senators in Oklahoma, Durham, D.C. But he used to do a thing on Wastebook. And one of the things he brought up on the federal level, which I also see on a local level, is we have several agencies doing the same job.
Absolutely. It's crazy.
Isn't there a way we can get rid of those?
Yeah, you got to get rid of the old party. The old party is a bunch of crony capitalists and crony governmentalists who have a deal where they take all the taxpayers' money and they hand it out to their friends, and they keep getting elected. Stop electing Democrats and Republicans. That's how you cure that problem.
Well, when you go to Oklahoma and you see that big statue of a mosquito over a bridge, come on.
Yeah, what is that thing?
That's supposed to be our bird. It doesn't look like our bird though. And did any? Do you know this answer? Did any state tax dollars get spent to pay for that thing?
Of course.
Oh, I'm gonna guess yes.
Of course,
just a wild guess.
Yeah, and that's one of the crazy things is what purpose? See, and I've seen this brought up with our Capitol too, the remodeling of our Capitol, looking so beautiful, down in the basement, looking great and all that. And here's my thing: if it doesn't serve an actual purpose other than beauty, it should not be, tax dollars should not be used on it. I mean, if somebody wants to donate money, hey, great. Donate money to build that bird. Artist wants to build the bird so he looks good, Hey, great. But why are we spending money on looking at things? I hate that at the house. I don't want to have no space.
That's not just an Oklahoma problem, though. Me and Oklahoma Tomcat, we travel the United States, okay? And I'm seeing these bridges go up everywhere, and they are immaculate. I'm talking about images, state prints on their bridge bricks, and I mean, why?
Right.
All the bridge is needed for is to go from one side to the next. Why don't you just throw some dirt on there, throw a bridge over it, and be done? But instead, they're building these immaculate stone bridges. Why?
Right. If they want to have a fancy bridge with a lot of fancy artwork on it, let the local Chamber of Commerce pay for it.
Yeah. Or even better, I mean, I'm sure there are artists. I'm sure there are artists out there, who would volunteer their time to do stuff like that, if they want. Or a nonprofit organization. Hey, cool. Or shoot, if Travis wants to put a bird on an Oklahoma bridge, he can pay for it, But,
well, at least my bird will look like a bird, not a mosquito.
But, for taxpayers to be paying for it...
If we want to beautify a bridge, we can have money built into the bridge project for beautification, but it needs to be voluntary money, not taxpayer money.
Exactly.
When France gave the United States the Statue of Liberty, they didn't include a pedestal to put her on. So how did we pay for the pedestal that the Statue of Liberty sits on today?
That was all donated.
Voluntary contributions.
Yeah.
It was donated. Voluntary contributions.
I remember a big fund on that Statue of Liberty a long time ago with people donating pennies to fix the Statue of Liberty. I was a kid back when that. I remember our school did the project, collected pennies for that.
I remember that.
I donate pennies when I get tickets.
Stuff like that. We get tickets.
A lot of things were paid for with public donations. The Washington Monument was not created with taxpayer dollars. It was voluntary contributions. The March of Dimes developed a polio vaccine and ended the scourge of polio worldwide by collecting one dime at a time. It was not federal money. Sox did it on donated money.
Mm-hmm. And I think that would work, especially if we combine our last topic with this one. If you lower people's tax dollar, the amount of taxes people pay, they'll have more money. And overall, we do like our community to look good. I mean, we want our roads to be good. We want our bridges to look nice. We want, we are very visual, and people want that. I think we would, we could get it to where people would donate money towards this stuff.
Well, roads should be paid for 100% by tolls, and the toll money should go 100% to roads. And then the company that owns the toll road, they could make their own decisions on if it's going to be nice or not. If it was so butt ugly you couldn't drive on it, then people wouldn't be paying their toll. They'll fix it up.
Yeah. Yep, that goes back to, private companies will do a better job because they want the customers. Now, on that topic, that's a good topic because Travis and I get in that topic a lot too. How would you handle the tolls? Let's say we get Chris Powell in, and a lot of libertarians into being representatives. and that came up, and it actually passed, which I'm for it. But you know, the key would be, how would you implement the collection of the tolls to make it to where there won't be traffic and people won't be hassled, you know, by always have to stop every 15 minutes to pay the toll?
Well, that problem's been solved by new technology. I have a little tag on my car. When I drive 44 from here to Oklahoma City, I pass under a VFD reader. It reads my car, bills my credit card. I don't slow down. Well, I do slow down. I slow down from 80 to 60.
Yep, and then
so that's
that
one
works,
way you can pay toll.
With people in Oklahoma. Now, with our current company, that works great because we do have the Oklahoma tag. I've worked with companies where they didn't have the Oklahoma tag, for out-of-state travel.
Well, you need to, okay, so I used to have to stop and pay tolls in Texas until Texas realized they were spending more money manning and building toll booths than they were collecting. So they stopped. They put in automatic readers, and they automatically bill my credit card as well. I drove through Colorado 5 years ago in the middle of the night, and they did not have a toll booth for me to pay at.
Nope. Yeah.
So they sent me a bill for $25 for not paying my toll. I thought that was a little excessive.
Their system is expensive, but I like that type of technology because that's one of the things I'm thinking about is currently in Oklahoma we don't accept we have to have 2 tags on our windshield to be able to cover Oklahoma and other states. You know, and that's one of the things, I don't know if it has anything to do with what representatives can do in an office or not, but, you know, a way to make it to where we are using technology to help those that don't have the Oklahoma tag, you know, to make, you know, because we do have to think about travelers, you know, people coming in from out of state and not creating a huge traffic jam.
Colorado thought about me when I drove through. And they're like, gouge the travelers. Hey, you know where we gouge travelers that always annoys me? Is when you go to a hotel, not in your hometown. Because you usually don't go to a hotel in your hometown. That would be ridiculous. So whenever you're out of town and you stay in a hotel, the hotel tax, not just sales tax, it's like triple sales tax. But what are you going to do? You're an out-of-towner. You can't complain. You can't vote them out of office. You just have to pay the hotel tax.
Yeah, we have a representative, a libertarian representative in Dallas County that is working to get a high-speed truck lane built through, trying to get it approved. He's wanting to do it as a test project. Where, you know, kind of like the HOV lanes, but this one's strictly for trucks, and it's a toll road, but it's a picture toll road, and it's going to go through Dallas, so that way, there's not going to be any exits on it except it's strictly to go through Dallas. You can get on, but you ain't going to be able to get off.
Sounds great.
And you know, and the only exit ramps I talked to him about will be at where truck stops are at, so trucks can stop at the truck stop. But mainly what this is for trucks to get through the city fast, so that way it kind of loosens up the traffic, because a lot of trucks do, especially in rush hour traffic. Well, we're hitting rush hour, killing our drive time, and it's also clogging up the streets more. So you give us a high speed route around it or through it, where only trucks can go, you'll cut down on a lot of traffic. I mean, thousands of trucks will go through and not ever have to worry about traffic, and that'll be more traffic off your highways, your inner city highways.
I think that's a reasonable solution. I'd like to see what the numbers are. It sounds like a really expensive solution. But I'm not saying it's not worth the money. I'm just saying the taxpayer shouldn't pay that money. If we're going to build a road strictly for 18-wheelers, probably need to be a little extra tax on 18-wheelers to pay for that road, right?
Well, that's what he said. It will be a toll road, so it might be upfronted by the taxpayers at first, but when we're going through the road, we'll be hit with a toll on it to pay for.
Sounds great.
And I told him,
sounds reasonable.
I said I'd be fine with that because one, I can get through there. I said, and two, you're gonna send me the bill. I said
Exactly.
I don't want to stop at toll booths. I want to just burn through and go. And he said,
so there's another way to pay for all these roads other than toll roads. Okay, first of all, the goal should be that everybody pays their fair share of the road expense. We know society needs roads. We know they're expensive. We know we have to pay for them. That's never a problem. The question is, how do we pay for them? How do we collect the money for that expense? And one very fair way to do it would be on a tax on gasoline. Charge everybody 10% tax on their gasoline, use that money to build the roads and maintain the roads.
Let me ask you something about that tax on the gasoline, because I always thought that that's what that was supposed to be used for. What is that money? Our current tax that we have to pay, the additional tax that we pay for fuel, where is that money going?
God only knows. Not to fix the
roads. I thought
registration. Not to fix
the
registration
schools. And maybe schools.
I mean, we pay IFTA. Our companies pay IFTA on each truck that they have. That's the internet. That's the intrastate fuel tax.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got that. Plus,
well,
plus the everyone who buys fuel is paying fuel tax. Plus the registration tax. I mean, you got to pay taxes on, when you register your car. That is a tax. Where's that money going? I thought everything. See, to me, ideally, everything that is taxed for a certain thing, like everything for driving and registering your car and driver's license, all that should all be included with the repairing roads and everything needed for that vehicle to run. I mean,
okay. So the truth
is,
all taxes collected go into the general fund.
Oh,
there's no
that's
ability in math to say, hey, we're collecting the tolls on the toll road and we're spending that money on roads. That's literally not possible. All the money the state collects goes into one fund and is then distributed out of that fund. The best we could hope for is if they collect $1 billion on tolls and gas tax, that they would spend $1 billion on fixing the roads. And it would be nice if they would publish that information in a nice 2-page format every year, say maybe about the time I'm filling out my tax returns, if I could see the government's audit that shows how much money they collected on toll roads and how much money they spent on roads.
Yeah, that would be nice. Actually, Travis has an idea he passed that he brought up in a previous show we had. Travis, want to pitch him that idea?
Yeah. How about choosing where your taxes go when you file taxes every year, and whatever doesn't get funded from where you're choosing for it to go gets knocked off your off the list. You put a list on there. You put a list on there, and people just check on there where they want their taxes to go to.
I'll see your system and raise you one. Don't collect the taxes. Let the people keep their money. Let the people spend the money on what they want. No middleman. Save inefficiency.
That'll work.
The government's just the worst middleman we've ever created. They take all this money in, spend it mostly on themselves, and they trickle out just enough money on the roads to shut us up. But we could just buy the roads ourselves for 1/10 of the money, maybe 100th of the money.
Yeah, I'm all for the privatizing of roads, and I think that would work. If we take advantage of the electronic system, because that would be a pain if people who don't have a Oklahoma tag on their vehicle, the toll tag on their vehicle has to stop every so often because, the toll's on every road. But I think privatizing the roads would be
or
a good
the governments
solution.
of the states could get together and agree to accept each other's tags. Because every state has
that would be great.
toll tag system, and there's computers. Computers can bill each other instantly and immediately with zero cost. All right, practically zero cost. So just use today's technology, problem solved.
Yeah. With that, we have to go to break.
All right, let's talk about health. Very few people get the nutrition that they need. Very few people eat enough vegetables. The last number I saw that only 18% of people actually get the vegetables they need. So chances are you're listening to this show, you're not getting the vegetables your body needs. There's an easy way to get the fruits and vegetables you need, and that's greens. If you go to livepure.com/PTAT, that's Papa Tango, Alpha Tango. If you go there, you will get a discount on all the nutritional stuff they have. They have lots of choices. I personally like greens. And they also have earth water there, which has lots of minerals. You go there, check out their products, get your discount, and live a healthier life. We'll be back after these commercial breaks.
The Liberty National Network.
Where do you want to go to lunch?
I'm having a stroke.
Did you hear what I said?
I'm having a stroke.
Why aren't you answering me?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST, F, face drooping, A, arm weakness, S, speech difficulty, T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
You may have doubts about healthcare sharing. I know we did. We studied literature about Samaritan Ministries, but we feared that it was just too risky. Instead, as our health insurance premiums went up each year, we would increase our deductible to reduce the premium. And then the inevitable happened. We had to use our insurance. We had a medical need that included tests, doctor visits, and even outpatient surgery treatment that totaled over $7,000, and it was all out of pocket. It took us 3 years to pay off, even after several of our healthcare providers reduced their charges. And we finally took a leap of faith and joined Samaritan.
Each month, we get to give to an actual person with a medical need. We pray for them and put them in the hands of the Lord for physical, emotional, and financial strength and healing. There's no way to fully express that pleasure and joy. During the first year we were members, we had a medical need, and it was all provided for. And the strength, peace, and healing from prayer.
Last year, our son was injured on a mission trip 1,200 miles from home. And the bills for the emergency room, doctors, stitches, and prescriptions totaled $5,300. But every last cent was provided for. In fact, last year we had 2 more needs, and each time our Samaritan family came through.
I worked in healthcare for 10 years, from front desk through billing. I would recommend Samaritan instead of any insurance product out there. Insurance has no assurances. In fact, it seems everything is written in such a way that there will be no assurance at your time of need. We just wish that we had trusted in God's provision sooner.
It is such a blessing to come alongside our brothers and sisters in Christ and share in each other's healthcare burdens. And there's such a peace and joy knowing that God is answering our prayers, bringing healing and providing for our needs.
Hi, I'm Devin, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is President of Hillsdale College, Dr. Larry Arnn, on what the founders meant by general welfare.
The great preamble of our Constitution states that the purpose of the document is in part to promote the general welfare. Contrary to the modern understanding of that term, the founders understood welfare to mean public good or happiness. This was understood in accordance with the principles of the Declaration of Independence. Such happiness is contingent on securing to each citizen his natural rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Because this requires the government be limited, the powers of the federal government were enumerated, and local matters were reserved to state authority. This was precisely intended to secure these inalienable rights and in turn promote the general welfare.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To receive a free pocket Constitution and Declaration, go to constitutionminute.com. On what the founders meant by general welfare.
The Liberty National Network.
Travis Pope may sound like a big bad gorilla, but he is really a soft cuddly teddy bear. You are listening to Political TNT on the Liberty National Network. This is a pre-recorded show and therefore we are unable to take phone calls into the show. But please feel free to comment about the show wherever you see this show posted.
And yes, we will reply to those comments, even if you disagree with us. We love people who disagree with us, don't we, Travis?
Yeah, especially when me and you get disagreeing. But we still have Gene Bell with us, and one of the things that we talked to him about is we want to talk about the crime rate in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and there's no excuse for this. Crime is a problem, especially when you get like up there in Tulsa. Crime is I mean, I just read an article where a guy was shot at a party. You know, and vehicles getting broken into and all that stuff. And that's the area you're representing, isn't it, Gene? Or will be?
I would represent Midtown Tulsa. And crime is pretty well out of hand in half my district. The other half of my district stretches into very rich neighborhoods, and it seems to be a little bit under control there.
Well, you know, as a truck driver, yes, this show is ran by truck drivers. So we and I do have a degree in business economics and political science. But as a truck driver, I won't even park overnight in Tulsa, and they got a Flying J there, and I can't remember the new one that they put up over there, but I won't even stay in Tulsa. If I can get through Tulsa, I'll either stay at at one of them service centers on the toll road, or I'll make it over there to Big Cabin. I will not stay in Tulsa for a 10-hour break.
I think that's very wise. The crime in Tulsa is really out of hand, out of control, and the police are undermanned and not able to solve the problem. Although, in fairness, it's not really the police's business to solve the problem. That's society's business. One thing that's wonderful about our country, it was founded in a system of democracy, but that system assumed that people would be law-abiding. People are no longer law-abiding.
Well, that's because they did away with some of that arcane punishment for breaking the law. I mean, I have solutions, but everybody calls my solutions archaic and barbarian. But I tell them, well, look at the crime rate versus then to now. And it's not very libertarian of me for that type of system. But, you know, public beatings. I mean, string them up and beat them with a. They do it over in that other country.
A little caning.
You know,
little caning might help.
Yeah, a little caning. I mean, put them up publicly and just grab that big old cane that's been soaking in salt water and dried in salt water and go to town. I mean, it works.
See the reason you look at you have barbaric solutions. We can't really blame Travis for that. You know, it's that caveman diet he's on.
You're on the same caveman diet there.
Diet. It just makes you want to cane people.
But we do have a problem with our justice system because really, it doesn't. I mean, even if we go to the public beatings and all that stuff, our justice system really doesn't solve the solution for the victims. I mean, there's nothing in play. You know, one of the things that I've read and I'm going to bring in the Bible for our atheist listeners and stuff, but I'm sure even our atheist listeners could probably agree on this. One of the things I've read in the Bible that I really do like as far as, solutions for crime is, like, for instance, if you steal from someone and you get caught, you go to court and you're found guilty, you have to pay back 3 times the amount to the victim. What's wrong with that? I mean, the victim. I mean, you brought up with us, Gene, off the air, your vehicle being broken into, your vehicle being stolen, and you're never, even if they catch that person, how are you paid back? How are you made whole?
No, I'm not.
Isn't that what our
I'm not.
Be built on?
No, they break into my car, and there's absolutely no price to pay. First off, it's almost impossible to catch these people because they do it in the middle of the night, and unless the police happen to by at that moment, they're getting away with it. Most of us don't know until the morning that our car has been broken to in the night.
Right.
So I put an alarm in my car, and and I was able to follow the guy, but I couldn't catch him. I'm an old man. I can't wrestle him to the ground and hold him for the police. And even if I did, he'd probably sue me on some sort of civil rights violation. And even if the police caught him, if the police happened by and catch him, we all know that he's going to go to the legal system, get a slap on the wrist, and he'll be back out on the street. He'll chalk up one more mark on his rap sheet, and he won't care.
And if you would have
caught, a story on the internet.
And if you would have caught him and held him until the police got there, he would have got out the next day, and he would have come back at you for revenge.
That's possible.
And that's another thing I don't get. I stop you from stealing from me, and you don't get mad at me for putting you in jail? You shouldn't have broken into my car. You're lucky I didn't shoot you.
And that's why I'm 100%
right. No, yeah, you can't shoot
self-defense. That's why I'm completely for the Second Amendment, 100%. And people told me, well, should you be able to have a helicopter or a jet or a fighter jet, or
sure,
a helicopter? I'm like, yeah, I want one in my driveway. I got 20 acres. I can put one there.
Oh yeah, I'd like
absolutely.
to have
if you're a rich
them.
man and you want a helicopter to protect your land with the guns on it, a helicopter gunship, and you can buy it, go ahead, buy it.
Yeah,
man,
trust the person more than I trust the government.
Hey, that's what I want. One of them robotic drones that sits out in my front yard, and someone tries to break in, it just rises up. You know, kind of like the Terminator drones. You know, rises up over my vehicle and attacks the thief.
I think I just need an automatic sprinkler system. And if after 10 o'clock at night, if anybody comes on my lawn, the sprinklers turn on. I think that would solve the problem for me.
Yeah, connected to. Yeah, it needs to. Even better, connected to your aerobic system, so that way they get black water.
Gray water.
Yeah, gray water. There you go. Gray water.
There you go.
I don't know. I think those ideas have some merit. They're non-lethal, so they're flexible.
Yeah, you know, that's one of the things you bring up is you know, the fact that you know, us being able to defend ourselves or protect our property, you know, and you know. That's one of the things people need to wake up to is the fact that it's impossible for government to protect us. It's impossible. Because
they will never.
I mean, unless
you would have to hire a policeman for every citizen, and they could just shadow you all day long, and then you'd only have one cop, and sometimes you'd need two.
Yeah, you'd be outnumbered. Yeah.
Right. So it would be too expensive to do that. We don't do that. But that's okay. The founders understood that. They gave us the right to bear arms so we could protect ourselves. Because wherever there's crime committed, I'll be there.
No, you're just supposed to buy a rape whistle and pee on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what some of
yeah.
our
You know, I've never signed up to that philosophy.
So,
yeah,
what is your solution?
I may pee on myself, but I'm not blowing any whistle.
Yeah, well, crime is not only increasing where y'all talk about, but it's increasing down where I'm in. See, I live near Houston. I live down near Houston, and crime is increasing down there too. They're actually searching for certain vehicles and stuff like this. And I posted not too long ago on my local group. I said, look, there's a lot of vehicles coming up missing, and here's what you need to do. Because you know you're not going to be around your vehicle all day long. There's a little device inside your vehicle, and it's a starter relay. Okay. Well, when you get out of your vehicle, pop your hood, pull that starter relay, and go about your business. That vehicle will not go anywhere, and the thieves ain't gonna be thinking about carrying a starter relay around just in case, because that's too many starter relays. They have to think of one for every car. So they're looking for a quick, easy grab. So they jump in it, the car won't start, they're out and gone. You might have to deal with a broken window.
It's not a bad idea. When I go out of town, I disconnect the battery from my car for a similar reason.
Yeah. You just pull that starter relay out, and that car will not start no matter what they do unless they replace another starter relay. And they don't have time to do that.
Yeah, but they're not going to stop and fix your car when they're just trying to steal your car.
Right.
So that works. That works until we all pull the starter relay, and then the crooks will know to always bring starter relays with them.
Now you brought up on the show, so now thieves are going to be carrying around a bag full of starter relays for the cars they want to steal. Thanks, Travis.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, and I'm pretty sure thieves ain't listening to our show anyways. They're too busy doing other things.
Yeah, good point.
But, yeah, they're not listening to no government show. They're too busy watching. Well, today is Friday. They're probably watching the Dallas Cowboy game and the Dallas Cowboys and Redskins, not listening to a show.
Or taking advantage of all the people that'll be too busy watching TV and stealing cars.
Yeah, so they're not going to be listening to our show.
Yeah. So, Gene,
I don't think a lot of our thieves today do a lot of planning.
Yeah. We brought you on the show here to talk about your solutions and stuff. So what do you see as a way to reduce crime in Tulsa and other cities and areas? Because let me bring this up. We live out in the middle of nowheres. I always make fun that, we have in our neighborhood to elect the mayor, we have a picnic and we all say, okay, so-and-so can be mayor again, I mean, there's nothing out where we live. The road I live on leads to nothing. But yet, we had somebody come by late at night. Well, of course, while I'm on the road, this is always when my wife always has, something happening. Somebody came by our house late at night, pulled in our driveway, smashed out the back window of our car. So even out where we live, we got these problems. So what do you see, as far as representative of Oklahoma, what would you do?
Okay, so crime is not an easy problem to solve. I don't have a pocket solution in my hand that I'm hiding from everybody until I get elected. But I know that we're doing some things wrong and we could do some things better. So part of the situation is you got to look at your whole crime budget. How much are you spending on patrolling the streets? How much are you spending on incarcerating folks? I think we're spending more money on incarcerating folks than we need to, and we're not spending enough money on patrolling the streets, and a lot of the street patrols are bogus. For instance, if they pull you over for going 65 in a 65-mile-an-hour speed zone, that's not a crime they're stopping. That's a tax they're collecting. In Oklahoma, in Oklahoma, we incarcerate people for minor drug offenses. Well, the truth is that if somebody is smoking a little marijuana, that's not a crime. There's no victim of that crime. Let them smoke their marijuana. Don't put them in jail. First of all, you put somebody in jail, it costs the state a lot of money to keep them in jail. But worse than that, you ruin the person's life because now they can't get a job because they go to sign up for a job and they're like, have you ever been convicted of a crime? And they say yes, and they say you can't have the job. Well, then what options does that person have? He can't get a legitimate job, but he's still hungry. I guess he has to go into a life of crime. So every teenager that smokes a joint in Oklahoma, we sign them up for a life of crime. Let's stop doing that.
We're basically creating criminals by putting people in jail for petty stuff.
Right, yeah, you put somebody, well, it's not even putting them in jail, it's preventing them from being employable. What we're saying is no matter what kind of person you are, because you smoked a joint and got caught, you will never be employed again. People need to be employed.
Yeah, because, human nature is for self-preservation.
You legalize marijuana and you let everybody out of the jail that's in on the marijuana rap. Okay? And then that empties the jails, and that's good. All those people return to the workforce, and they can help the economy. Instead of being a burden on society, they are part of society, contributing.
Yeah, I like that. And yeah, we need to focus less on the victimless crimes that we're, and also the petty stuff, and focus more on things that actually do hurt people. Property, destroying people's property, stealing people's property, and shooting or harming physically people. We do need to focus more on that.
Right, focus on those things. So spend all the money you save on the jails, which are just harming society, and spend that money on more police officers to patrol the neighborhoods, and that will reduce crime. The other thing is, if you can save all that money on the jails, And then all those people that were in the jail get jobs, and they're paying income tax and sales tax because they got money in their pocket because they're working. That's a good thing. That beefs up the economy. Everybody's personal economy will improve as well.
Yeah.
So empty the jails to stimulate the economy. I think that most of your crime, there's crimes of passion, but other than those, I think most of your crimes are caused by a poor economy, where people are poor and they don't see another option, so they steal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
help
that's
them get a job,
true,
they don't have to steal anymore.
Yeah, I think that's true because it's human nature, self-preservation. And if you're stuck in an area, especially if you're in a neighborhood, that's why I do. You do have where you got certain neighborhoods that are high crime areas. Because if you grow up in a neighborhood like that and all you see is hopelessness, it takes a lot. I mean, you have to go above human nature to get out of that. It takes a lot, because you have to fight your own emotions of everything is doom and gloom. It takes more
than the average person has to pull themselves up out of that situation. And yes, we know how to do it. People do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hear great stories. I love reading inspirational stories, where people's overcome great odds like that. What was it called? From poverty to Harvard is one story. I love that story.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. So and I always encourage people that's in these, in situations like that, to look at those stories. Just keep reading those stories, because the more you hear of stuff like that, the more likely that you're going to block out all the negatives.
Yeah, well, I kind of have a little biased view on it because I was in a similar situation growing up, and I've done things that I shouldn't have done, and I ended up going to jail for it, And the one time I went to jail for it was enough for me. Okay, I got my crap together after that. I started doing things right. I started doing things. So
yeah, good for you, and especially good for society. We all benefit because you got your act together.
Yeah, and the thing is, so when people tell me, well, there's just nothing you can do. I can't do this. I can't do that. I look at them as you might be able to tell a regular civilian that, but you can't tell me that because I know better.
Yeah, well, you're able to take that tougher look at it, Travis. But unfortunately, when you do look at numbers, repeat offender pops up a lot.
Yeah, they do because that's because they have made the excuse that they can do nothing about it. Okay. The only thing that I had to do when I got my stuff back together, the only thing I had to do is I had to work harder and smarter than everybody else that I was working with. Because of that, within 6 months after starting a job, no matter where I go, I moved up in management fast because I worked harder and smarter than everybody else.
And you had to go above, and you had to go above human nature. You had to step up the game to a higher level. And see, I've taken psychiatry, and I know human nature very well. That's why you hear me a lot saying, I never have faith in human nature. I never trust human nature. And that is because human nature is about, let's face it, majority of people, if they did not have to work to survive, they wouldn't. This is why government programs fail. Majority of people will always take the easy route. Yep. I'll admit right here on air, in front of everybody, I would not be on the road right now away from my family as long as I am if I was able to get free food, free housing, free everything without the government, because I don't trust the government either. You know, if
I bought a lottery ticket today. If I win, I'm done working.
Yeah,
you played the redneck. You played the redneck retirement plan, huh?
Right. Well, it's a tax on the willing. It's a tax on the optimistic. But I just want one ticket.
You're in the which ticket did you buy?
Well, actually, I bought a Powerball and a Mega Millions.
Okay, that's your problem right there. You bought them in the wrong state. If you look at the numbers, where these tickets always are won in the Northeast.
Or California. No, they're always winning in California because there's so many people in California buying tickets. They just buy a lot more tickets than Okies can.
Yeah, I see more. I think it's all set up because it's always won in the progressive states. You see that? See what I just did right there?
I did. I like that.
It's always won in progressive states. It's never won in conservative states.
Well, they need the money.
Now they're just going to misspend it anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about the government's half of the money. The people's half of the money, they'll spend it just right.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I look at like for instance, when I first got out, I started working for. I went into the atrium patio doors at the time. I went in and talked to the HR guy. I refused to fill one out online. I refused to go through a temp service. I went straight in and talked to the HR guy. And I laid it down. I told him what I did and everything like that. And I said, but if you put me in on there, you will not regret it. I'll be the best guy you have out there. He goes, I appreciate you being straight up forward with me. He goes, I'm gonna put you to work. 3 months later, I was promoted. Got a raise in 3 months. They called me the dream team because I was building doors. Packaging doors, and I was at the bottom and the end. They could not keep up with me, and so 3 months they put me up. They gave me a management position. They gave me my own crew, and they started hiring guys from a halfway house, and
really?
They would put them on my crew. Yeah, they started putting them on my crew. And them guys would come in and they would start giving me all these excuses. And I looked up and I said, I don't want to hear none of y'all's excuses. I've been there. I know that. I know the games. Get your butt over there and get to work. I don't want to hear no excuses. And I tell you what, my crew started outproducing all the veterans that were there. We started outproducing more doors than everybody else. And packaging and shipping them out. So my whole crew became the top crew in a matter of a month's time after I took over it. And then they come to me again and they said, hey, we want to move you up to the front office. And they said we would put you up higher as a supervisor instead of a line manager, but you don't have a degree. I didn't have a college degree, so I couldn't become a supervisor. So they moved me to the front office and put me in charge of warranty department. And not only did they put me in the warranty department, but they also gave me a company credit card for Home Depot, the company gas card, and the keys to their company truck to do warranty jobs over the Northeast Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth area after cert. And they told me, just don't clock out. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the day, I was working in the office doing phone calls nationwide, and then as soon as 5 p.m. would hit, I'd go out, get into the truck, and I would drive to warranty job sites in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they told me that anything I buy from Home Depot with their credit card, I can keep. It's mine. They just bring them the receipt. And I would get back about 10 o'clock at night, and that's when I would clock out. So from 8 to 10 o'clock at night, that was my job for the next
That's good.
2
You rose
years.
to the occasion. And let anybody that hears this understand that motivational story and get to it.
Yep.
So I don't buy a lot of the excuses that, well, I can't find. No, you can find work. You're just lazy and don't want to find work. You know.
Well, there's a lot of truth in that.
Because technically, if they're on parole or probation, part of that parole and probation requirement is to have a job.
That's right.
But they don't. But they get on there and they don't want to work hard. They don't, because if you work hard and you work harder than everybody else, you'll get promoted. It might not happen overnight, but you will get promoted if you work harder, faster, and smarter than everybody else. You know, when I was working there, they would tell me, well, this is how we do it. Okay, cool. I was doing it the way they was telling me to do it. While the whole time I was doing the way they was telling me to do it, I started thinking of ways, how can I do this faster and incorporate it in there? And then when I realized what I could do, I started incorporating that in, and I started pumping out stuff faster. And then I started thinking, well, how can I improve on that? How can I improve on that? And I figured it out, and I started improving on that. Next thing you know, I'm top producer in the plant. My supervisor was coming to me and my coworker, because it was a pair. 3 weeks afterwards, and say, man, this is the dream team right here. And he was shouting it through the whole plant. This is the dream team right here. Nobody can beat them. And it was all because once you start, they show you how you want it. You start innovating that, and you start thinking, how can I make this faster? You start putting your brain to work instead of being brain dead on the assembly line. How can I make this thing faster? How can I get more out? How can I produce more? How can I do this? Or how can I do that? You start incorporating them and make it faster. And then when you start doing that, the higher ups are saying, okay, I like this guy. What's his background? What is he doing? What is he doing? Next thing you know, you're getting pay raise. They'll come to you and say, we'll put you through college. That's what they came to me and told me. They said, we will put you through college. Name it, we'll put you through.
Well, that's the way to pay for college right there. Have your employer do it because you're worth it.
Yeah, and this is one of my main things that I always tell people. You make yourself an asset to the company, not a burden. You make yourself an asset. An asset they can't get rid of. A burden they can get rid of.
Yeah, it's always worked for me.
You know, and another thing I always say, and I was told this by a millionaire, a self-made millionaire. He told me this. Excuses only make the person telling them feel better. Excuses only makes the person telling them feel better. A self-made millionaire told me that. And he sat me down, and me and him was talking one day, and he goes, I was asking him, I said, well, how did you get rich? How did you do this? And I was picking his brain because I wanted to know more, you know. And he goes, well, let me ask you, why aren't you rich? And why don't you have more? And I started coming up, and I started telling him, well, this and this and this, you know, and I brought up my past and my criminal record and all that. And he looked at me and he goes, excuses only make those who tell them feel better. That hit me, and I was like, no more excuses. No more excuses.
Well, when I'm elected to office, I'll be all work and no excuses.
That's good. And then, I mean, that's a great thing for people, individuals to definitely. I mean, I apply the same thing myself. And that's something that every individual definitely incorporate. And it would be great if every individual did, but we know that's not going to happen. But also,
and it applies to what you do for your
aiding.
company, and it also applies for what you do with your society.
Yep, exactly.
You can be a good citizen and not be full of excuses as a citizen. Oh, I didn't have time to vote. Oh, I don't care to vote. Those are just excuses. Get out there and vote. Vote for the good people.
Yep.
Do you know where
exactly.
defeat starts? Do you know where defeat starts?
In the heart?
Oh, close. But I was thinking more of the mind. You start thinking. You start thinking about it, and you go, well, I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do this. What have we been told all of our lives? Can never do anything. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm not worthy. Once you start playing with those thoughts, once you start entertaining those thoughts, then they go to your heart. It starts in your mind. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm not worthy. I'm the wrong race color. I'm the wrong sex. I'm the wrong this. I'm the wrong that. Once it starts here in your brain, it goes to your heart, you're destroyed. You've defeated yourself through your thinking. It's called stinking thinking.
Absolutely. There's a lot of that going on. People need to get out of that kind of mindset and get into an achievement mindset, because the opposite of that is anything your mind can think of, you can achieve.
Yeah. And we know government always puts the bad thoughts in our mind, because government does definitely coddle to everyone's a victim.
Yeah, the government says just lay down and we'll give you money for food.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You remember whenever we were in school, they was talking about in computer programming. When the first computer programming come out, I think I was in '90, when I was in high school. One of the things our computer lab teacher told us is said, garbage in, garbage out. 90% of your problems with the computer is because of the operator. Garbage in, garbage out. That's the same thing with our individual lives. Garbage in, garbage out. You start thinking about it.
But see, here's the problem. Here's the big problem that we have, because we can talk, about what people should do and all that, until we're blue in the face. I know I've done the lectures, I've done the telling people. One of my things when government gets into everybody's a victim thing is I always tell people a victim is never ever become successful. You have to overcome. You have to move from being a victim to to new things, and your skin color does not hold you back. But when government does have a huge advantage over us, because we can speak this all we want, but we are going against human nature. Government has a huge advantage because majority of people will always take the easy route. I mean, telling someone to step up and start, take responsibility for their life, oh man, you tell that, you're going to lose half of the population right there. You tell people, you have to work hard, or, oh man, you just lost the majority of people there,